Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Weapon Strip. I'm your host from the East Coast, Tazzy Cookie, Major Lookie, and today's episode of Weapon Strip is going to be dedicated to the Xbow, courtesy of a subscriber leaving a comment on the last episode of Weapon Strip. That comment got enough thumbs up the bum for me to see it, so that tells me one thing: you guys all want me to try it out as a weapon for the next week's episode. Now, you might be asking yourself, why have you taken this long to make this review, Tazzy? Well, I didn't really want to jump the gun. I did want to tell you guys something that I didn't feel comfortable with as an opinion, because that's what Weapon Strip is all about, is me getting the true value and the feeling behind a weapon, of how it handles on the battlefield, and then I go ahead and give you guys my thoughts and my opinions. Now, the Xbow took a long time to kind of get comfortable with enough to actually give a review on it, so that's why you haven't been able to view my review on this for maybe 2 or 3 weeks now. So let's get some stats out of the way with first before I jump into the conclusions and my opinions behind the Xbow itself. The normal bolt is 100% at mid-range, then drops down to about 60% at long range. The balanced bolt, which I prefer, is 80% at mid-range and then dropping down to about 50% at long range. The scan bolt, which is kind of pointless in my opinion, is a bolt which you can shoot that goes into a building to give you a scan radius of enemies in that location, which is about 10 to 12 meters radius that we're talking about here. The explosive bolt is 200% on vehicle damage, and it doesn't really do that much to enemies, thank God. And the reload time, of course, is 4 seconds. Now let's jump into some of my opinions behind the Xbow itself, and I'll give you guys my cookie rating in a second. But I kind of want to just first say that the Xbow is fun to use. It is. It's a lot of fun. You can troll people with it. You can get some crazy, ridiculous shots as well. But I think it's more of a fad type weapon. Now when I say this, I mean, like, it's very fun to use if you just got the DLC, but after maybe a weekend of using it, or say a week for that matter, it kind of gets old, and you soon realize that your secondaries are a very more viable option to use, because the Xbow does take 4 seconds long to reload, you know, and sometimes you do connect with the bolts and they just don't kill the person, or the enemy for that matter. The thing I love but hate at the same time about the Xbow is that you can attach it as a piece of equipment. So if you love using the medic, you're going to have to take out the med kit, so you won't be able to replenish your health all the time, which is kind of a shitty part of it. But I mean, it's a great way of balancing the game at the same time, I think. But when it really comes down to it, the Xbow isn't so overpowerful and you know, crazy that I'm going to take out my med kit just to replace it with an Xbow. The only thing I would suggest, and I think the class this works best with, is probably the Recon class, because in my opinion the Recon class did not have any means of air defense, but now with the Xbow you're able to have the explosions bolt, and you can put a fair amount of damage on enemy air defense. So I mean, that kind of helps out your Recon class in a way. Now I'm going to give the cookie rating for the Xbow 2.5 cookies out of 5. I think that's a fair rating due to the fact that it is not a very ideal secondary weapon to use. It's more of a fun weapon to use to try to see if you can pick up some crazy kills and maybe troll some people. That's just my opinion, and I mean, at the end of the day, I'm going to want to switch to my secondary handgun. I'm Tazzy Cookie, and I'm signing out.